Take a picture of greatness, relate this to a Rembrandt. I know it all, so listen close, even if I rent. I'm here once a week, rain, sleet, or snow, to tell all the facts that you need to know. So listen. Take a picture of greatness, relate this to a Rembrandt. I know it all.
Y'all already know, man. Terrible. KnoItAllz Nation, Steeler Nation, everybody out there, thanks for tapping in. Certainly appreciate you joining me for a Wednesday noon Tate's Take. Just here to, share my thoughts, give my take on what I think, what we have going on with the Steelers as far as the quarterback room. We got a quarterback conundrum. I'll address the situation with the quarterback room, the quarterbacks. We got two quarterbacks on the roster, right? Will Howard and Mason Rudolph. We need a guy. We need a guy this year, potentially. If it's not Will Howard, we need a guy moving forward. We'll talk about that for a few minutes today. We also got a lot of our other shows planned this evening. Be sure to tap in and check those out. Later on this evening, we got Smash the Gas 7:15 with myself, Big G, and Curb in the building. That's at 7:15 tonight. We'll be talking about more Steelers stuff, some combine stuff. Kind of getting into some of Omar's cons. I know Big G and Curb were talking about stuff yesterday. We'll talk about what Omar meant with some of the stuff he had to say. Pump Your Brakes will be right after Smash the Gas. I believe Shannon will be out this evening. He has some personal things he's taking care of. So got a couple special guests. We got some big news as far as this show goes. The Pump Your Brakes podcast, Steel Curtain Network. Be sure to tap in and check it out. We're going to be making some moves over there and want you to tap in and you'll know about it. You can tap in here or on the Steel Curtain Network. Then later on this evening, me and my homegirl Dev will be back once again for the Steelers Coast to Coast. And we're going to answer questions and talk about what Omar Khan, translating what Omar Khan really had to say, give our perspective on it, really her perspective. You'll hear me all day. I'll be here 4 times a day. 4 times a day I will be here. Omar Khan alluded to some things yesterday. Some of it could be smoke, could be a smoke screen. We don't know, but we'll talk about all that stuff this evening. So be sure to tap in for that. Let's shout out some of the folk who have joined us in the live chat real quick. It's early, so not expecting a whole bunch, but appreciate those of you that are there. Pickens, you big dummy. What up, man? Thanks and appreciate you for tapping in. Definitely. Corey, what up, though, my guy? What's happening? Afton with the wave. Hi, Afton. I actually sent some in chat thread this morning with you, Curb, and G, man. I don't usually do that, do I? But you put in a question worth answering, Afton. I thank you. But, yeah, Joshua in the building. Thanks for tapping in, Josh. Definitely glad to have you here. Dwayne, what up, though, man? Thanks for tapping in. And Afton saying what up to Wayne. So, hey, everybody, thanks for tapping in that's here. Let's go ahead and get into some of this quarterback discussion. So, yesterday at the Combine meeting when the Steelers media met with Omar Khan before he actually met with the national media, and I saw him on Mike Florio. He was on a couple of other national with national sports media guys and podcasters. So what he had to say about the Steelers quarterback room is there's no rush on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron knows how we feel about him, which means, they want Aaron back. He knows how we feel about him. We will welcome him back if he wants to come back. But We don't want this to drag out like it did last year. Last year, we know he didn't sign to the beginning of June. But last year, he had a lot of personal stuff and things he was dealing with from a personal perspective last year, right? So Omar Khan doesn't anticipate that. He also mentioned that him and Mike McCarthy, it's a new working relationship. They've known each other, but as far as working together as a GM head coach, he said they've been grinding since Mike McCarthy was hired. So they've been, getting to know each other over the last 6 weeks, talking football, looking at prospects and stuff like that. And one of the things they did during this time is watch film on Will Howard. And by film, I don't mean going back to his college take. I mean they're watching film practices. The professional level, you film practices. Hey, shout out to the homie Ken, man. Thanks for tapping in. I'm doing good, man. How are you, bro? Thanks for tapping in. Definitely. I'm good, though. Callie, what's up, my guy? Man, Callie, I've been trying to get you to come on as a guest, kick it on here with me for a second or something, man. Man, come on, get out here in these Steelers streets, man. You be at every damn game with your season tickets. Holla at your boy. But yeah, man, back to Omar Khan and Mike McCarthy studying Will Howard's tape, right? And I kind of broke it down into 4 categories as far as what we have going on with the Steelers, right? If you look at the cover for the show, we got Aaron Rodgers, because I believe we gonna get Aaron Rodgers. Yinz won. A lot of Pittsburgh people want to see Will Howard. I'm curious what Will Howard can do, but I'm not curious enough to just say he's gonna be my starter going into the 2026 season. Do I think he has maybe some potential for a 6th-round pick? I do. It says will pay, probably should say must pay. Adam Schefter reported yesterday that Malik Willis, some team might be willing to pay him $100 million. Steelers definitely not doing that, because one of the things Omar Khan alluded to yesterday was we're not paying the quarterback position. There's a lot of different things we could do that could mean keep some of your current veterans. I believe they will keep Jalen Ramsey, definitely. He left it open for Patrick Queen. I don't think that's cut and dry, because you can save quite a bit of money cutting Patrick Queen. Would I keep Patrick Queen? Yes, I would keep Patrick Queen, because if you cut Patrick Queen, you either got to pay money to get a free agent. Maybe not as much as Patrick Queen, but maybe you got to pay $10 million, not pay Patrick Queen's $15 million or wherever he's at. You're still spending money. You're creating an unknown hole. I like Patrick Queen's talent. So he's under his last year of his contract. If it's me, I got to see what it looked like, right? I mean, under Patrick Graham, new defense, I got to see what that looked like. But he could be going. Kind of got a feeling he was going to stay, but I never know what Omar Khan is thinking or what Omar is doing. Then the last tier we have is next year. Next year's quarterback class. Should be a really good class, but we thought this year was going to be a really good class, right? And that's why next year's projected to be so good, because a lot of the guys we thought were going to be good in 26 didn't do well in college football season of 25. So now they going back to school with the class that would have came out next year in 27. Now they went back talking about guys like, we'll talk about them later. But so 27 quarterback class should be very strong. Maybe the Steelers get their guy then. But we need a quarterback this year. That's what we're here to talk about. We're going to look forward a little bit real quick to the possibility of next year and who's available. And who's available in this draft that we could take at a certain spots in the draft. Excuse me. But yeah, so the first option, the option I believe that is going to be when we talk Steeler football, I believe it's going to be Aaron Rodgers will be back. I believe they worked that out. I believe it could even play out like last year, right? Last year, he waited till beginning of June to sign, but he came for a meeting in March to Pittsburgh last March and met with the brass, Art Rooney II, Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin at the time. They had that meeting where Aaron Rodgers was driving to Malibu, snuck in the city, some private airport, and was out. But that meeting went well. He didn't commit at the time, but I believe they had a wink and a nod deal going on, right? If I play, it's going to be for you guys. I think I'm going to play. I want to take care of this family business. I'm not going to sign now because everybody be speculating why isn't he there, what's going on. So Aaron Rodgers seems to be a really private person until he's not. I think he's not when he says he's private. He makes a deal out of that so people are invasive in what he got going on. But after this year, I always respected Aaron Rodgers' game and consider him one of the greats in the league at the quarterback position in league history. I mean, he's definitely probably top 5 quarterback. He only has 1 Super Bowl, but on just statistics alone, touchdowns, interceptions, MVPs, all the stuff that matters, I think he's a guy. He's top 5, you know. So there's an opportunity for him to come back. I believe if he plays, it's going to be in Pittsburgh. He's talked to Mike McCarthy. He's talked to Omar Khan. So he's connected still to the Steelers, the building. He enjoyed his experience last year. His 2 years out of Green Bay with the Jets were terrible. The Jets make life terrible on you. We know Justin Fields left Pittsburgh last year, went to the Jets. We saw how that worked out for him. Justin Fields probably is not going to be a starter for the Jets. Will he ever start again? I don't know. If he had stayed with the Steelers, he had opportunity. But he left for more money. I believe $10 million more is what it equated to. So he has that money, but now he has no job. I mean, I believe if he signed early last year, Aaron Rodgers wouldn't even have been in Pittsburgh this past year. But so I believe Aaron Rodgers is the number 1 option. I believe you draft him. You get more weapons around him, and we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about the combine and what's going on with, the potential draft coming up, what's going on at the combine now, but the potential of the draft. I mean, he said yesterday, Omar did, that Broderick Jones is injured. They won't know where he's at before his roster, his 50-year option is due May 1st. They'll have to make that decision, and I'm sure now they won't give him a 50-year option. They'll let him play it out. But, yeah, so I say that to say that we'll talk about draft stuff, but Aaron Rodgers looks like the guy. We're going to get Aaron Rodgers. Then we talk about who Yinz want. A lot of people out there, and Big G been saying this, and I'm seeing it more and more. I'm not out in the social media streets as much as him, but I ran across, I believe, something he shared or posted something. And, man, it's a lot of positive sentiment for Will Howard. And you can look right over my shoulder right here. I'm a Ohio State guy. Will Howard won Ohio State National Championship in the 2024 season. His last game that he played, because he didn't play at all in Pittsburgh last year, not a preseason game, not a regular season game, not nothing. His last game was the national championship where Ohio State beat Notre Dame. So, he looked good during that playoff run, but we don't know what Will Howard is yet. We don't know. I think he's a talent, 6'5", 235, strong kid. Was a 3-star prospect coming out of high school in Philadelphia. Ended up going to play at Kansas State, transferred to Ohio State his final year. And he was good. He was good at Kansas State, but I think he ascended to Ohio State partly because of a lot of the weapons around him. I mean, we talk about the receivers he had with Tate, Jeremiah Smith, running backs Travion Henderson, Quinshawn Judkins, all pros. Tate's going to be a first round this season. Jeremiah Smith will be a top 3 pick next season. That's with the quarterback class that we're talking about. He'll still be a top 3 pick. So he had plenty of talent on that team, right? So, but when we don't know what it looks like at all, we didn't see him at all. So you can't just rely on that, even though I think the kid deserves a shot. You can't just rely on it. So you got to bring somebody in if Aaron Rodgers retires. He has to compete with somebody. It's not Mason Rudolph. I know what that looks like. I don't need to see any more of that, right? Though Mason's a solid backup. He is a solid backup. We can't go into the season thinking, we'll just start Mason. No, if that's the case, you may as well just start Will Howard. I'd rather you give Will Howard the position if it's between him and Mason than play Mason some more, and I know what that looks like already. I've seen it for the last 7-8 years. So the other option, and the one I was probably most interested in, was signing Malik Willis to a free agent deal. But one of the things Omar Khan alluded to yesterday in the meeting also is that, if I said this already, I'm saying it again, we're not paying a quarterback. And they're not, you know. Mason Rudolph makes $4 million. What's Will Howard make? Maybe 1.5. So 2 quarterbacks, they pay him $5 million. Aaron Rodgers came at a discounted quarterback rate last year. If he comes back, he'll be a discount. If you roll with Will Howard, it'll be a discount, or Mason Rudolph is a discount. If you know, so there is money to signing, but do you commit to, if he can get $100 million from somewhere, as Adam Schefter reported yesterday, Malik Willis all means go get that. You're not in my wheelhouse no more because I can't afford you. You're not on the budget. Like some of these high inflation costs that are going on right now, in spite of what people said last night. Yeah, so Malik Willis is not in my budget. So he outpriced us, right? So I don't think that's an option anymore. Retrade guys, don't want any of them. Don't want to have to trade assets for Kyler Murray or Tua or even Daniel Jones. Well, I think he'll stay with the Colts. I mean, there's not a guy. I don't want Mac Jones. There's not a guy out there I want. That's the point. I'd rather just roll with Will Howard, if that's where we're at, and draft the guy this year with a later round to compete. And you've heard us mention these guys before. Actually, G did a short combine prospect podcast on this guy. Garrett Nussmeier, if you didn't see it, go check that out. So the Know It All channel was earlier this week. I did one that dropped yesterday on K Klubnik. And these guys are actually available, right? So they will be available probably as late as the 4th round, right? I mean, they could really play themselves up in the, at the combine this week, especially Drew Aller with his measurables. I like Drew Aller a lot. I think Drew Aller could be a dude, the right system, the right coach, and the right offense. I'm a bigger fan of K Klubnik. We're checking out some different Steelers podcasts this morning, and Ray Fittipaldo and Jerry Dulac are at the combine. They were talking about quarterbacks. I got a small clip from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette I'll play, and they were talking about these very guys.
Would-be first-rounders, guys like Drew Aller, Clay Klubnik out of Clemson, Nussmeier out of LSU. Those guys now are day 2 or even day 3 picks in some instances. You know, Aller is coming off the injury. I'm not sure where he's going to slot in. So that's the draft, though. You know, every year you might have some opinions on what's going to be strong, what's going to be weak.
Yeah, so talking about the same guys that we've been talking about. Everybody know the guys. I mean, all those guys, Aller, Klubnik, Nussmeier, they were all supposed to be first-rounders last year, right? So I'm all about throwing darts, getting talent in the room. A lot of those guys are talented. All those guys are probably talented. But of those guys, I like Klubnik best. Big G likes Aller best. And I like Aller too, but I like Klubnik just a little bit better because of his traits, his upside. I mean, Drew Aller has the traits in way of what you can't teach, right? Not from talent standpoint, but from just a sheer size, you know, tall guy, big guy, a little bit athletic. K Klubnik's athletic, but he's like 6'2", 210, not as near as big as Aller at 6'5", probably 235. But I think Aller's a better thrower to football, more accurate. I mean, I think Klubnik is that guy, is more accurate, I believe better poise. But Aller played in the Big Ten, a lot of tougher teams in the Big Ten, the ACC. I could be off, but I like both those guys. Garrett Nussmeier don't want nothing to do with it. I believe if he gets drafted by the Steelers, well, we'll see how he does at the combine this week. But I believe if he's drafted, it's definitely some nepotism going on, relationship between Mike McCarthy and Garrett's dad, Doug Nussmeier, who's coached with Andy Reid in the past before. Do I think he's a talented quarterback? Yes. Do I think he, of all those guys, has the weakest arm? I believe he's the most accurate, but he's also the most panicked in the pocket. He has the least elusiveness of all three of those guys. And he has happy feet, right? That's what I see when I watch LSU tape, some of his highlights and some film on him. He has happy feet. So I have no interest in Nussmeier, but I'm really high on Aller or Klubnik with, I go as early as my second, third round pick for whichever one they decide they want. I really ideally would rather use my last third round pick. I believe that's pick number 99. I like that, right? I mean, if you know Aaron Rodgers, if you got Aaron Rodgers and Will Howard, then you don't need to draft a quarterback this year unless it's a project late in the 6th or 7th. Because you let Aaron Rodgers play, you let Will Howard develop, let him get second team reps all season. And then next year, you know, if you got a guy or if you don't, you know what's all in that draft. And you just start scouting quarterbacks for next year. Because it's going to be probably 8 to 10 quarterbacks that could go in the first round. Talk to my boy Big G. Could be up to 12 going the first 2 rounds. So plenty of quarterbacks next year. I wouldn't panic, push a button now and draft Ty Simpson or in the first round or rush and grab somebody. The quarterback I like best next year, and he's on here too, is Dante Moore out of Oregon. He had a bad college football playoff game against Indiana and that defense and the number 1 overall pick, Fernando Mendoza. They got a lot of talent in that Indiana team. They just out physical and beat Oregon. But I like that Moore went back. Honestly, right now, as the season starts going into next year, college football, I believe Arch Manning, not necessarily just on the field, but because of name and pedigree, I believe he's the number 1 right now, as we haven't seen no play in 2026. And I believe Moore would probably be second on that list. I like Moore a lot. 6'3", 200, can run a little bit, has some elusiveness. Can make all the throws off platform and stuff. So if Rodgers comes back, Howard's your second guy. You're not going to pay Malik Willis. Look to next year. Right now I'm identifying Dante Moore as a guy I want next year in the draft. But what do I think is going to happen? I think Aaron Rodgers will be back, and we'll see this.
I know I'm coming. They know I'm coming. I know they gonna be there, and they know I'm gonna do the best job I can possibly do.
That guy's gonna be back. Aaron Rodgers would certainly get a no Diddy right now. Everything he just said in that little short clip. But yeah, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the chat now. See what some of your comments are. If you got comments, go ahead and get them up right now. I'm going back to try and look. Let's see, where did we stop at? Let's see a question. Aaron in the building, thanks for tapping in, definitely. Rye D, what you talking about, Rye D? Let's see what you got. Let me see first what did Ken say. Ken says Fields just isn't a QB in the NFL. I believe he would be a great running back. I don't think he'd be no running back. He might could be maybe some type of wide receiver. I don't think he can take the punishment as a running back. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, so what's Rye D saying? Shout out Rye D. Thanks for tapping in, man. I just hate that it will slow down the process of moving on with the QB. I agree. You talking about if we sign Rodgers back, Rodgers come back. Because if they get close, there's nothing stopping them from letting him come back again the year after. So you saying we could have a 43-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Brady's played till 45. I believe Brady won a Super Bowl at like 42, 43, didn't he? But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had weapons back then. They had Godwin, Mike Evans, Gronk, old AB. So, yeah, we don't have that. Okay. Callie on Will Howard said he's been a champ at every level. I ain't mad at that, and I think he deserves a chance because of that. I'm just saying I ain't giving him the job because of that. You know what I mean? Please don't draft a QB until late round. Still bus driver. I'm with you all the way, bruh. Definitely 100. That's why I say, I mean, if you saw enough at the combine and pro days from Aller or Klubnik, and you wanted to spend a third or fourth round pick on him just to bring in competition, and Aaron Rodgers hasn't signed, and you throwing him in with Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and the new guy, I see what that looks like. But yeah, I don't want to. If you bring Aaron Rodgers back, you load up everywhere else and get your quarterback next year. Certainly agree. Let's see. Ken said, yeah, I believe give Howard some competition for the starting QB and see if he can win the competition. Could doing well. It could. Definitely could. Let's go 2-15 and get Archer Dante. Hey, Post, man, I don't know if I want to go 2-15. Well, I just don't think that's in the Steelers' DNA, man. Especially Mike McCarthy. He a new coach. He from Pittsburgh. He's a Yinzer. He want to come in this spot and try and turn it around immediately, fast as he can. He ain't trying to go no 2-15. Even his first year in Dallas, I believe he was like 7-10. Then he followed that up with 4 straight winning seasons. Last 3, 12-5 seasons. Okay, yeah, Dwayne's what we talking about, man. Will Aller potentially in the 3rd or 4th round. Drew Aller potentially in the 3rd or 4th round. I could live with that. Ryan D saying champ at every level. He was ran out of KSU. Must be talking to you, Callie. He was ran out of KSU. Wasn't his fault. He played his ass off. Okay. They did have a high recruit, a high prospect that came in who was younger. Will Howard, that was going to be his 5th year, senior year, his 5th year. And I believe in order to get the new recruit that was highly touted to go to Kansas State, they had to kind of commit the starting job to him, so they let Will Howard go. He chose Ohio State. Ohio State needed a quarterback at that time. Kyle McCord had just transferred, and they needed a quarterback. So, yeah, he went to Ohio State, won the job. Sawyer Robertson, that's the kid from, is it Baylor? Hey, put in the chat where's Sawyer Robinson, Mark Malone. I'm pretty sure that's the guy I'm thinking of. Steel Dog, what up? Thanks for tapping in, man. Remember Nussmeier played with a trash O-line last season. He did, and he had happy feet. I mean, but I get it. They were bad. But even the year before, when he was projected to be a first-round pick, he played good. LSU had the second best wide receivers also, like I said about Will Howard, in college football besides Ohio State. If you ranking, universities that produce wide receivers, you got to go Ohio State, LSU. So he had weapons. I mean, but I just don't trust him, man. I mean, 6'2", smaller frame, not as athletic as Cade Klubnik. I mean, if that's what they do, that's what they do. It ain't going to make me stop being a Steeler fan. I didn't stop when they drafted Kenny Pickett or Bubby Brister or Landry Jones. I've been around. I'll be around. So, I ain't going nowhere. I just ain't with that. Right, he said I was at the game and he didn't play. Said he didn't play his ass off. I like Trinidad Chambliss, too. That's next year. He a little fella, but that's if you can't get one of the guys. I believe Trinidad Chambliss of that group coming out next year. Depending on how he plays next year. He's probably one of the Heisman Trophy favorites next year, too, though. But just because of his stature, right, I think he falls out of the top 5 QBs. Even if he plays well, because you're not – when you're talking about the draft, you're not drafting based off college production and what you do. You're drafting – otherwise, Will Howard would have been a first-round pick. He played well, won the national championship, carried him, but he was a 6th-round pick. They drafting off traits. They're drafting off what they see and what they think they can develop and the potential. They drafting on the ceiling, not the floor, especially when you're going for a starter and a franchise quarterback. Year by year, is it, what we saying, Ryan? You said year by year hostages. They are, all of us. Hey, man, I think that's got to be part of the equation, too. If he's not ready to commit by time free agency, then this is when you start making all these moves, right? You start looking at quarterbacks more. You see what Malik Willis wants. You wait and see if Kyler Murray is cut, not trade for, cut. I mean, or get one of these, bring in competition with one of these second tier quarterbacks that have been busted to this point. Y'all know I talk about Anthony Richardson a lot. We got old boy who played with Aaron Rodgers and drafted early. Zach Wilson played shitty, not good. Helly talented, though. See that arm? See what he can do? Who knows? Mike McCarthy's supposed to be a quarterback guru, okay? A quarterback guru. So if anybody can, they still brought him in because he can work with quarterbacks. Whenever you get that young quarterback, that's what they brought McCarthy in for. So I see no reason why they shouldn't challenge him and bring in a guy. Even if it's not the guy, bring in the guy and see what Mike McCarthy can do with him in the quarterback room. I mean, so I've said names like Malik Willis, but I'm saying Zach Wilson now. Will Levis, I believe, will be a free agent out of Tennessee. He lost the job to Cam Ward. He could be somebody that could potentially compete with Will Howard. He's a second-round pick. Zach Wilson was like the second overall pick. Trey Lance was like the third overall pick. I mean, these pedigree guys that have played bad, if you want somebody to compete with Will Howard, bring in a young guy that's hungry that will really give him competition. Not an old guy, not a Geno Smith, not a Jacoby Brissett, not somebody that can beat him out just off the mental alone. Bring somebody in that's talented and can compete, and they start at the same level, right? Not a lot of experience, not a lot of success in the NFL. Let's see what that looks like. And then in 27, if neither one of those are the guys, you draft your guy. You know what I mean? But you got to get this quarterback position right. We've been too long at just, putting Band-Aids on it, patching it up, not doing what we need to do as an organization as far as the quarterback position. If it was me, everyone would have convenient injuries at key moments next season. You trying to tank post? Man, we ain't tanking. Okay, hey, Ken, you could be right, man. The Niners, but part of that too is just, creating leverage. They say they want to keep Mac Jones, but man, somebody offered him a second-round pick. Is they going to keep Mac Jones? No. They're going to trade Mac Jones. I mean, so, all that's just smoke until it's fire or until it's not. But do I believe they want to keep Mac Jones as a backup? I do. Do I believe they let him go for a second-round pick, maybe a third-round pick? I do too. Two things can't be true. My guy, Pro Snickers, I like Nussmeier to compete with Howard too. Okay. I get that. I mean, that's what it would be. Nussmeier wouldn't be a starter. And when I say the guys, I say Cade Klubnik or any of the other second-string quarterbacks, early draft picks that didn't make it, they would be competition too. And all those guys I named are better than Nussmeier to me. Zach Wilson's more talented. Who else did I say? Anthony Richardson was, like I said, I'm talking about guys that were top 5 picks that haven't made it, that should be hungry, that should be open and humble to coaching. And it'll be cheap. We ain't talking about he going to anoint the guy. We talking about to compete with Will Howard. That's what we talking about here, right? So, bus driver, the good Lord took away Haskins. He was such a prospect. Dwayne Haskins was a really good prospect. But same things would happen with Haskins. We picked him up. He was drafted early by the Washington Commanders. They cut him eventually after a couple of years. He came to Pittsburgh and was looking good. Same situation I'm talking about now. See what one of these guys look like in your room. Stu also says, I like going for Willis. I go for Willis for $25 a year. He can get $250, 2 years, $50 from me. He can't get nothing close to no $100 because I can get out of with all the salary cap Omar said we have, we're comfortable. We have the most salary cap going into the next season of any of the teams that made the playoffs last year. I believe it's like at $46 million now, but that's not including the bump. That is including the increase in salary cap. So yeah, they still can restructure some contracts and cut some people. So you can stomach Malik Willis 2 years at 50. And like I said, if he doesn't beat Will Howard out, you let Will Howard start. He's got an expensive backup that you can get off in 2 years. Then you have to use your draft picks next year on no quarterback. You identify the guy, whether it's Willis or whether it's Howard. But no Willis for $100 million, though. Not with 6 career starts. Now, do I shoot the dice at 25? Yeah, because 25 is low market rate for a starting NFL QB. Okay. Afton got to go. Have a great day. I have to see you later on this evening. I know you'll be tapping in later. My guy from the 901, Reds in the building, Bartlett, Tennessee. Reds, thanks for tapping in, man. We talking Steeler quarterback for a minute. About to get out of here in about 5-6 more minutes. Reds said, what up, Steeler Nation? Pickens, you big dummy, says every GM wants to keep everyone until they get a good offer. Exactly. You know what I mean? You know, Pickens, you know what you get for that, man. You know, it's too much negativity going on, right? Big G always want to put somebody in the matrix, especially Claude. But Pickens,
That's the fact, Jack.
you get the facts, man. That was spot on. We just need we need to get this because it's time to win now. Okay. Okay, Rube. He said we just need to get this because it's time to win now. It's always time to win. Christine, Black and Gold. What up? What up? What up, though? Thanks for tapping in. Dwayne, Mike McCarthy would need a magic lamp for Bubby Blister. Who is Bubby Blister? We're not going back to the 80s, are we? Are we, Dwayne? Okay, so we're all caught up on the chat. So any more questions we can get out of here? But that's just kind of what's going on with the Steelers QB situation. Like I said, it's kind of a QB conundrum as of right now because we don't have anybody, right? We got Will Howard, but we don't know what that looks like. We got Mason Rudolph, but we do, and I don't need to see it no more. So the question is, who is going to join the room, right? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it a free agent? Is it a draft pick? It's the only question we got left. And when free agency starts, we start to see who gets cut, who gets released, and stuff like that. Biggest question mark as far as that goes right now, I believe, is Patrick Queen. I believe Jonnu Smith is out of there. Broderick Jones won't get his fifth-year option. Between the cornerbacks, I believe we signed one and draft one. Between Asante Samuels and James Pierre, I like Asante Samuels because y'all know me. I'm always going to err on the side of pedigree, right? Asante Samuels' dad played at a high level for a long time, same position he plays. Asante Samuels was a second-round draft pick out of Florida State, early second round. James Pierre was undrafted, guy the Steelers already cut before, brought him back out of necessity, career special teamers, had a good 7-8 game run last year. Don't mean he that dude. I like him. I mean, for special teams, for maybe a fourth or fifth corner. But if you bring Brandon Echols back, you got him signed for 1 more year. I believe Jalen Ramsey coming back. You got Porter Jr. Deshaun Elliott should be healthy. You get a corner, you get a safety, you good. I mean, I'm sorry, Pierre. I mean, you're not the guy I'm bringing back. But I know you my boy's boy, Pierre LaPue. Shout out, Big G. Christine says, I thought I had a good idea of what was going to happen. Now I don't know what the hell is happening as for the QB situation. It makes me nervous wreck, though. Yeah, I mean, but, you know, hey, Christine, being nervous about it, thinking about it, worrying about it ain't going to change it. You know what I mean? So just wait and see. You know, just be patient about it. It'll reveal itself soon enough. I got an idea. Today is February 25th. In the next 3 weeks, if it's a draft pick, we won't know. But if it's a free agent, we'll know. If it's Aaron Rodgers, we'll know. If it's a draft pick, we won't know. Unless it's Aaron Rodgers, they could draft one of those guys late, right? I think Pierre and Asante Samuel both coming back. Jonnu can hit the road. Jonnu's definitely hitting the road. I would be okay with them both coming back, but I believe Pierre's grade be 31. I believe he's just turned 30. Like I said, undrafted, career special teams. Played good last year, the cornerback situation. He wasn't getting on the field before everybody got hurt, before, you know, Slay was trash, getting hurt, before Jalen Ramsey had to move back to safety because safety was trash back there with Juan Thornhill. That never worked. I mean, so I like Pierre, special teamer. Let's see. Red says, Tate, honestly, do you think Rodgers is coming back? I do, man. I think he's going to be back. If I was betting, out of all the options, my highest betting option would be Rodgers coming back. I believe that's what's going to happen. But, yeah, everybody, so with that being said, man, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Don't forget to tap in tonight to the shows. We got, again, Smash the Gas, Big G, Curb, and myself. That's at 7:10. Pump Your Brakes. Myself, typically Trip OG Shannon. Shannon's gonna be away for a minute, taking care of some stuff at home. We got our Coast to Coast podcast tonight, so be sure to tap in and check those out. Then Thursday, we got the Jag 2G. That's already uploaded. It's a recorded show, but check it out Thursday night when it's available. We talking about athletes and evolution, because I be around so many young cats. I mean, younger than me. I'm an old dude, right? I'm an OG for real. But a lot of these young cats be talking about dudes back in the day trash. I done heard Joe Montana trash. I heard Magic Johnson is trash. So we was talking about, are the athletes better or the access better, right? The access to nutrition and specified training, because, and I say it on the podcast, like back in the day, when we were in school, we went from football to basketball. If you played baseball, ran track, you did everything, right? Or you wrestled. I mean, guys now in junior high, they start picking a sport, and that's what they do all year round. So from a skill level, they're better. From a knowledge level, they're better. From a training level, they're better because of access, not because they're born genetically better athletes. You know what I mean? But check that show out tonight. It's definitely interesting. We also talk about a few minutes on the NBA. So just came up because of the All-Star game. But yeah, check that out on Thursday at 9 p.m. And if it's nothing else, okay. These last few comments. Let's see. Christine said real quick, we're gonna run through these. All I know is that we end up with some 8 point, what's it say? If we end up with, BS, like I said 8S, okay. BS like 2 or more, I'm going to pop a blood vessel. Don't do that, Christine. We don't need you popping no blood vessel, but Tua definitely. Kyler Murray, my 3rd or 4th option. I can live with Kyler Murray over Mac Jones. Everyone hating on Jonnu, but Muth never had a season like he is before. But yeah, he played a different offense, Ryan. I think the whole offense was mismanaged last year. I mean, Jonnu had some opportunity. I'm not ready to say he's trash like he's trash. Now, does he fit with the change in offensive philosophy? We'll be playing much less Arthur Smith's 12 and 13 personnel. You'll go to much more Mike McCarthy, 11 personnel, 3 wide, spread a little more and stuff like that. Aaron Rodgers will be more comfortable when he comes back. So maybe it's a little bit redundancy with 3 tight ends that you're really paying. You got to pay Darnell Washington to come back. I think he gets some. You listen to Omar Khan yesterday, Darnell Washington getting a second contract. Stu said I'm going to have a Nike raffle. Man, that's something I could give away. A pair of shoes, man. We can come up with something for the KnoItAllz, man. You know, I got quite a few boxes. That's just in here, man. That's not even my closet in there. That's just in here in my podcast room for decoratory purposes. Pig and say, please no Kyler. I understand, man, but I think Kyler again, Tate, big on talent to the room, big on upside. Kyler Murray is #1 overall pick playing in Arizona. Now, has he grown up and humbled himself a little bit? Well, that's what you got to hope for. Now, is the talent there? The talent is there all day. Without paying the money he's making, no. If he gets cut or you trade for him and they take a lot of the contract on, I give him a chance. At my 3rd option, probably. Thanks, Christine. We'll see you later on this evening. And with that said, everybody about to get out of here. Thanks for tapping into Tate's Take on a Wednesday afternoon. And with that being said again, see you guys tonight. We out. Peace.
Take a picture of greatness, relate this to a Rembrandt. I know it all, so listen close, even if I reinvent. I'm here once a week, rain, sleet, or snow, to tell all the facts that you need to know. So listen.